In this session, we'll talk about managing contacts within your Sales Aspects tool. As we've already discussed in the demo for this product, Sales Aspects has built-in whitelisting functionality to ensure compliance with CAN-SPAM rules and regulations. There are 3 ways to add new users or new recruits to your Sales Aspects system. We'll go through all 3 of those. The first involves capturing interested leads through your website and through web registration. The second is adding them individually to the system by typing them in by hand. And the third is importing contact lists. First, we'll take a look at what a user registration looks like. When a user comes to your website, they will have a number of different options for either logging in, registering for the website, or they'll have forms that you may drive them to. Let's say, for example, that you have a campaign talking about the benefits of working in your organization, and you encourage them to come to your website to sign up for a confidential meeting. They'll come and they'll click on that link, or they'll be driven directly to that link, and they'll be presented with a form to fill out. In this case, our sample recruit is Joe Agent, and we will give him my email address, and he'll fill out his zip code. He may put in some comments about looking for a new career or a new brokerage, and he'll fill out this information. He's a realtor, looking to start a new career immediately, currently licensed, and always interested in training. He'll indicate how he would like to be contacted, let's say by email, and in the afternoon. And he'll complete this registration form, and then the website will give him feedback that in fact his registration has been received and submitted. When I go into my Sales Aspects interface and log into the back end, I should receive a message depending on how I've set up my notification. At this point, if I've set up SMS mail, also known as text messaging, I will have received it on my phone. I should receive it in my email inbox if I've indicated as such. And you can see here I've got a new website lead. If I go to the Message Center, I'll be able to see the email, and I'll be able to see how many contacts, or I'm sorry, I'll be able to see the details of the web registration. So Joe Agent, here's his email address, zip code, etc., and that he's a licensed agent looking to start a career immediately. When I go into my contacts database within Web Aspects, I will be able to see that Joe has already been captured in the database. There he is. He's highlighted with a little flower here indicating that there's new information or he's a new contact. And you can see there, new lead. Also note at the bottom of the screen there are a number of tabs for additional information. One of those tabs is leads. If I click on that, I can see that on November 16th, 10:44 a.m., Joe Agent submitted a career lead. I've used this name as a demo before, so you can see 3 other times it's reflected on here. And if I click on the button, I can get the details of the lead. Now when I call or email Joe, I have this background information. When's the best time to contact and by what method. Going back into the General tab down here at the bottom of the screen, I can put additional information that I may have on Joe. If I get a phone number through the context of our emails, I can enter that in here. His current brokerage, website, job title, etc. Joe has been added already to a couple of groups and campaigns because as I said, I've used this demo before, but I'm going to remove him from the campaign and from the membership so that I can show you how I would add him. I've clicked on the add button for membership, and right now I only have one group set up in my system, Experienced Agents, and I'm going to add him there, and I'd like to add him to a campaign, and right now I have just the Next Choice campaign in the My Campaigns section. So I'm going to add him to that campaign, and he'll be receiving those messages starting immediately. If I have other information having to do with Joe's address or multiple addresses, I can add them here. If I have additional addresses, I click on the new button. I can say vacation home as an example and put in the details and say he's got a vacation home in New York. And we'll add that address, and you can see that that gets added in here as an additional record. Okay, if I have other recruiters in my organization and I would like to assign Joe as a lead to them, I can click on Assignments, and it's currently assigned to me because Joe signed in on my web page, but I can see a list of other users available in the system. I can add them, and I can click on Assign, and they'll show up there. Finally, there's a place here for notes to be left, activities. For example, a new task I want to follow up, and I can click on Add New Task. And let's say we're going to meet for coffee next week. I might put some notes in here. I might suggest a date on the calendar into next week, the 24th, and I will add this, and it will show up on my homepage with a link to Joe's contact information. Other dates, for example, birth dates, anniversaries, etc., that I can add, and emails that may have been sent either manually typed or through the e-farming. I've added him to a campaign, so he's expected to get the first campaign message today, and you can see that here. And finally, the audit trail lists all of the activities involving Joe Agent. You can see that I've added the vacation home here, that he was added to a campaign and to a group, and added to the system which assigned him points. So all of the activities that we've done are tracked in this audit trail. Now let's say, for example, we have a new contact to add. We got a phone call from Joe's cousin, Jane Agent, and she is currently at ABC Realty, and she's given us her phone number and an email address. Jane Agent at abc.com, and I'm going to make this so I can't actually send it out. I'm going to add this contact, and then we will see the familiar screen with tabs that allows me to add any and all information for Jane that I would like, to add her to a group, and to add her to any campaigns that may be available. Finally, we can import lists of contacts into our database. So there's Jane, who we just added. So we're going to click on the import button right here, and it will take us to our desktop. Now presumably at this point we have already exported a list or been given a list of agents from an old recruiting system, from an email list that we've used in the past, or from our own Outlook address book. And we've either saved it in an Excel format or in a comma-separated values format. So I'm going to click on Browse and look on my desktop, and I know that I have a file in here called contacts.csv. I'm going to open that file, and I'm going to click on Upload. Now it's going to say fields I'll choose not to map. Want to use this display as field. It's an Outlook field, but I want the first name field to come in, and I want the last name field to come in, and if I have other information in my file, it's going to show up. Postal code, maybe this is their home postal code or their office postal code, and most important to me probably will be the email addresses. And these guys have already been mapped to groups because I actually exported them from the database. If I have a group already set up that I'd like to import them to, I'll select Contact Group. Now the first name in my file includes the names of the fields, right? Job title, birthday, first and last name. So I'm going to indicate that I don't want to bring in those column headings, because otherwise I'll have a record named first name, last name, and I don't want to do that. I can assign them to myself, or by default they will be assigned to me, and if I want to put them all in a group, assuming I didn't have that already in the file, I might have a group called Imported from Outlook, and I could call that, I could name it right here, and click Import Contacts, and as I do that, they will be brought into my database, and they will be notified by email that I have added them to my database and given the option to opt in to receiving my messages.